So, welcome everyone to tonight's weekly team call. I feel like it's been forever. It really hasn't, but today's December 29th, and we are going to be talking about vision and doing some activities together. And this is my favorite to do throughout the year. So, it's a really awesome opportunity to do it for the new year, and we're really just going to get the energy moving throughout our body. By sharing out loud what we want for our 2021, and we're going to do some reflecting on this past year as well. So my name's Alexis Olson, if you don't know who I am, and I do this full-time. So I'm a full-time Prove It promoter, and I absolutely love it. And I also teach fitness, so I get to do what I love full time. And 2020 has been a really great year for me and very unexpected, but I have a lot to be grateful for. So before we get started into the questions that we're going to answer, and I'm going to show you a little graphic with some prompts so you can reference it while we're all together. There's a couple of things that were on my mind. And the first thing that I wanted to say was I've been thinking a lot about society norms and what we get to. Hey, Tina, thanks for getting on here. So thanks, Hillary. And so, yeah, I've been thinking a lot about society norms. And ever since I got introduced to network marketing has allowed me to question society norms and question, what really is there such thing really as dreaming too big, or what is my potential? And so from my experience up until finding network marketing and stepping into it fully and deciding that this was my vehicle, I felt like everything else I did, every job I did was about to just not stand out, right? To blend in, to collect a paycheck, to not have new ideas necessarily, or if I did, they would get stolen and my boss would claim them as her own. Or I just had all of these experiences that felt very contracting. And with entrepreneurship and network marketing and with this group of people, we get to expand. And so that's an energy I'm constantly trying to step into, is how can I play bigger? How can I expand? How can I expand my vision, expand my belief, and really mean it and really be locked into it? And then, yeah, so the other thing I wanted to share with you, and you'll get a chance to do this too, but I'm going to brag on myself for a little bit before I share with you my vision too. And so when I realized that way of life wasn't going to work for me, and I've had that innately before, even before network marketing, right? I've always been obsessed with this idea of living life differently and designing my own rules and having a job that I actually liked, because that's different, right? Most people, they'll just stay in the same job forever, even if they aren't happy. So because of that, and because of network marketing, I've invested a lot of money in being around people that were expansive, whether it was an online course to change my money mentality, or an in-person event and where I tackled my own limiting beliefs and rewrote them and found out what was actually more true, and reprogrammed my mind to convince myself that I did get to have more. And that's what we're all about at Prove It, right? Is more, better, whatever that is for us, not pushing our better on anyone else, but just living that out loud and being true in that, and then just sharing it. And a big thing for me for 2020 is that it didn't matter what anyone said. So much of society is based on how we perform and how busy we are and how much we work. But what I hope you get from this in really leaning into your vision and your desires, because they are yours and no one can take them for you, is that no matter what happens, no matter what results you do or don't get day in and day out, your vision still gets to be strong and bold. It's not based on if anyone says yes, how many boxes we sell. This gets to be our vision. And I think the biggest thing about setting visions and having goals for a new year is when it looks like it's not going to work, to not lose enthusiasm about it, because that is where the breakthrough happens. You know, like when it looks like you're not going to, say your goal is $200 a month, when it looks like you're not going to hit that, or when you just had a bad day and you don't feel like posting, or you make a post anyway and no one comments on it, not letting any of those things outside deter you from your vision and the passion that you have. So that's my little rant. Let me share my screen with you, and I'm going to show you this image that we're going to start with, and we can, hang on, I have like a million tabs open. So we can, I encourage you to unmute yourself as we work on our first one. So the first thing that I want you to write down, and you can pick 3 things, is what worked for you in 2020. If anyone needs help and you want me to shout some things out, you can unmute yourself as well. So we're all writing. Does anyone want to share one or all of theirs?
So for me, what worked was the trials, and then just like the face-to-face sales, you know, being really personable with people. What didn't work for me was probably my attitude. There's just been some troubles that I have with myself that I'm trying to get over. And so I think that's not working for me. And so I do plan on working on that. Things to finish in 2020. Just finish up my commitment to myself, and, you know, finish committing to committing to prove it, and committing to, you know, doing whatever it takes. What I want in 2021 is to celebrate some successes, to lose some more weight, to make some more sales, and just to be more stable. And what I'm celebrating in 2020 is probably, I'm going to have to say, my recovery.
Love it. Heck yes. Okay, thanks for sharing, Kaylee. I love that you answered all of them. That's awesome. I only did the first one. Nice job. So when we do these, and when you write down each section, write them down, and then before New Year's Eve, or at the latest New Year's Eve, try to unpack some of those words a little bit. So for example, like what I want in 2021, if you want more income, more sales, more stability, write what that means specifically. So we might not have time to get into that specifically, but maybe look up what the word stability means, right? Write the definition down, and then go through each aspect of your life. Another thing I want to add is this doesn't have to be about the business in terms of like what worked for you in 2020. You can do, I recommend doing it for both, because you know, everything's going to trickle into everything else. So for me, for what worked in 2020, I put believing in my dream even when I felt alone, even when I was the only one with a side hustle at my day job, when everyone was just talking about doing those things and I was really the only one doing anything. And believing even when people told me not to do this, when people I cared about and my support system, and I'm not going to use quotes, like they are my support system, but they, you know, they told me not to do it, but believing anyway, and just having that power to decide without needing external validation. And then I put adapting. I think that's probably a word all of us can, that we have in common, and we should all be grateful for, because we learn that we really do have a lot more power to adapt to different situations in a different world. So I put adapting, committing, and then my last one I did committing to the inner work, even when I feel like I've done enough of that. So I think that's a big thing, is being willing to get humble again. Does anyone else want to share and unmute themselves?
I can share, but I didn't really get that much inside.
Yeah.
So I actually think that we should spend a little bit more time, and more people should come and share this, because I think so much of this business, a lot of us think it's like in the what to do, right? Like we're like, oh, like more lives, like what to say and what to stop. And it's really more about like what to be, you know, like what does being like abundant look like? Like what does being like successful to you look like? What does being physically fit to you look like? So like for me, I always think of fitness as like an example, but for me, like physically fit, you know, I have high standards of like what I want my body and stuff to be able to do and achieve. So for me, like being physically fit means being able to every day run like 45 minutes on the elliptical with no problem. For me, like being physically fit means that like I am just so able to, like there's nothing that I feel like I can't do because I'm scared of what people are going to think about like what I look like. For me, like being physically fit means that if someone says like do 5 push-ups, I can do the 5 push-ups. So I think the thing is in thinking of like really taking this time and thinking about like, and what worked, like what, not just so much like, were you sending all the messages, but how were you being? How were you thinking? Did you believe that you could do what you said you wanted to do? Or did you let like fear overtake you? Because I feel like I've been in both places in 2020. But some of the things I feel like that worked in 2020 for me was like being able to set clear boundaries. So being able to like tell people like, no, this that I'm doing right now is a priority for me. And like what you kind of want is going to have to wait. And so I know that setting clear boundaries is sometimes I used to be afraid because I didn't want to hurt people's feelings, but it actually takes me a step closer to like my goals. Another thing that worked, I think in 2020 for me is really just utilizing Hello Better for not just our whole team, but in my own personal business. Really just like in years past before, I probably would help, I'm just being honest, like all these people try to run these like separate groups, and that was just way too much work. It didn't produce any of the results, but I feel like really just concentrating on this one community is something that really worked for our team, for this business, things like that. I think another thing that Alexa said is just being adaptable. Like, I feel like so many of us, if you remember last year on New Year's, it was like 2020 vision, best year ever. And this year, you know, for me at least, like I experienced a lot of loss with just things that I had planned to do, just different life events that were supposed to happen in my life that didn't happen. So I feel like learning to really be adaptable and say, okay, like I still got to figure out a way to live my life in this new environment. So I feel like that worked for 2020. I feel like 2020 for me also, just spending less time caring about like other people's opinions. So for me, my attitude, like this was kind of dumb, but this is how my brain worked. I was like, well, if the world's going to end anyways, like I'm not going to spend time caring about what other people think. It didn't obviously end, but like in my brain, when it first happened, I thought the world was going to end because, you know, we got locked in our houses for a million years. So, I think that those are some of the things that worked for me in 2020. So before I get into like the other things, does anyone else want to share? And I know sometimes it might be scary to share, or you might not feel comfortable, but that's where you grow. So like if you're someone that's like, you know, you're on this call and you want these things, if you're someone that's like, okay, I really want to earn that car one day, or I really do want to make this work, you know, just getting to practice in this call, like think about it. You get this opportunity to practice in this environment where no one's going to judge you. Everyone's going to be cheering for you. And that's going to give you good vibes. Oh yeah, Courtney's going now.
Sorry, I'm eating, so I'll probably put it back on, take off the camera again, but at least while I share, I'll have the camera on. Anyways, okay, so what worked for me in 2020 was putting my health number one, and not just my physical health, but my mental health. Like I started seeing a therapist this year, and I'm not ashamed of it. And in the past, if I would have done something like that, I think I would have probably hidden it. But because I've been so open about it, I've had so many people reach out to me and tell me, thank you. They're seeing a therapist now, and they're getting their mental health right. You know, so I'm really proud of myself for taking that step. Also, I hired a personal trainer. So that worked for me this year. You know, she has helped keep me accountable throughout, you know, all of this past year, and turned into a friend. So I love having a personal trainer. And sometimes I'm like, it's, you know, a bit of an investment, but it's for my health. So for me, it's worth it. Also, I feel like I became more vulnerable online, which it worked for me because it just brought my following closer to me. I started doing these live weigh-ins and just being really just open and real through the ups and downs. I mean, even the gains, I mean, just everything this year. And it just made people realize that, you know, they're not alone on this journey. You don't have to show this perfect weight loss or your health journey, that people want to see the ups and downs and the struggles, because it makes them feel like they're not alone, because they're not. You know, it's like sometimes we try to sugarcoat it and it's like, oh, you know, hey, this and this and this, and look at my wonderful life. But, you know, when your life isn't so wonderful, sometimes that's when, you know, you're building those relationships with those online. Also, one more thing, what Hillary said earlier about utilizing Hello Better, I was totally not a fan of doing that in the beginning, because I was like, you know, I got my own group. I've had my own group since 2013. There's thousands of people in there. There's no reason for me to add anyone in there. I don't want to overwhelm my people with another group. But I'm telling you, because I've been adding people in there, my business has skyrocketed. These people that I'm like, you want to try this new flavor? I don't even have to ask people, do they want to try the new flavor anymore? They're harassing me. They're like, what the video Hillary did with that new flavor, I need that. How do I get that? So it's like, it's just such an added benefit. Like if you're not adding people to Hello Better, it's just, you're just shoot your own self in the foot because other people are excited in that group about these other flavors, and they're seeing more than just you talk about the product. They're seeing other people talk about it, and it is really just, I'm so excited to see what 2021 does with utilizing Hello Better more, and even more content. We have so much stuff going on where we're going to be adding so much more content to Hello Better. It's just going to get better. Okay. So anyways, I'm just really happy that, that I did that. And that's kind of what's worked for me this year so far.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Courtney. Let's see, Trisha, do you want to share next? Is she still on? Oh yeah, I see her.
Yes, I don't know how to, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, I can't figure out how to see everybody. Okay, so some of the things are kind of personal, but I kind of wrote in terms of just like what I felt, like what really stood out to me in this year 2020. What worked is definitely getting outside of my comfort zones. There are a lot of things that like make us anxious and uncomfortable. And I found myself pushing my boundaries there, and I found great changes coming from that. Finding stability and reconciliation with my family, learning everything about my spouse and our relationship. I got engaged to my best friend, who I'm also in love with, reconnecting with my God, starting kind of a relationship deeper with him, which is really important to my spirituality, joining Prove It, trusting something that was scary. I've never been a part of anything like this before. I'm really horrible at computer stuff. I'm scared of social media. I usually don't even like looking on it, because like it always makes me compare my life to others, and I get really down on myself. So it was a scary thing for me to do this, because it forces me to be uncomfortable and vulnerable and put myself and my life out there. But I started doing it, and so now what's worked, I'm noticing, is like back to point one, is getting outside of my comfort zone, trusting people, making new friendships through this, even making it about like the experience and like how it's changing my life, not just be looking at as a job, but as part of like a group of people that all love to better themselves, their health, anything in one way or another, and they all get excited to share that with each other, and just more people just keep joining, and it's awesome. That's how I've been starting to feel about it. So yeah, I hope I didn't talk too long, but those are a few bullet points on my list.
No, I love it. That's great. And what did you say you want for 2021?
Oh, I don't even think I got that far. What I want for 2021 is for me to learn how to live with the perfect amount of transparency, as well as having that provision for your own like privacy, but learning to use your vulnerable testimonies as ways to feel like to make others people see that they're not alone, and maybe something that you've gone through that other people have gone through too, but not a lot of people talk about. And just getting connected with people, getting more people in this business. I want to grow more spiritually, emotionally. I really want to have, like Hillary was talking about, like it's really important to me the shape I'm in, and how I feel physically really affects how I feel mentally. And I too have been working on my mental health, and big changes have been happening for me. But yeah, I really want to achieve some of these goals that I'm setting that kind of seem far out there. And I want to have that, you know, as far as like our finances as well. So money goals and friend goals, and just, yeah, lots of good things.
I love it. So, thanks for sharing, Trisha. Yeah, and for money goals for everyone, make sure before the new year to write down how much money you want to make a month. And I'll talk a little bit more about how I'm getting more in depth with this when it comes to the business, and other things as well, like weight loss or whatever your goals might be. But yeah, so just keep that in mind to keep getting specific. And yeah, I'll save the rest for later. But do Jennifer?
I can go.
I was totally gonna call on you too. That's so funny. Okay.
So, honestly, this year has been just bananas. I work in healthcare. I work in a group home, and I have been running nonstop. Like, I feel like I blinked and it's December and I don't even know how that happened. So, truthfully, I've been running on caffeine and ketones like this entire time. So, I don't really know what worked for me, besides, I guess, really focusing on keeping everybody safe, healthy, and then in at that same time, it kind of reflected back on me, because in order to keep everybody healthy and safe, I had to keep myself healthy and safe. So my biggest thing I did was leave my last like major boyfriend, and that was a really hard thing for me to do, and I still struggle with that. But toxic men can be toxic to everything. So not anything against any men in here, because I'm sure you guys are all amazing. But yeah, so that was probably my biggest thing of what I've worked on. What worked best for me was really focusing on just health and trying to put the carbs down and ketones up.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. Okay, who wants to go next?
Okay, I can go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Lawrence here, and listen to the notes I got. I'll keep this short. What worked really well is trials. It looks like a lot of the stuff that we were trying to do, going straight to checkout. Trials generally has a better customer journey for whatever reason. So definitely don't abandon the trial process. Things to finish. I've got 3 major projects with Lisa and the group with everyone here, and we're very close to finishing those, like the promoter onboarding training, the customer engagement system, and a Facebook funnel that I have almost done. What I want in 2021, I find I've had this task on my to-do list forever. Does anyone else struggle with specific goals and dreams? I know a lot of people are like, I need this or I want that. I've been very fortunate, but I feel like I've kind of been cruise controlling. I don't know if anyone's kind of felt that way. I've been looking at dream boards and stuff like that. It doesn't really, material things don't really do it for me. So I'm kind of struggling on what I really want, because I know what I don't want, and I don't know if that's a good dream either. So I know that's something I need to be more specific on in 2021. What I'm celebrating. So I've been in the industry for a bit, and generally the mile markers for success is if you make it your first year, it's good. Like if you're still enjoying the product, you're still enjoying the business side of it, the people you're hanging with. Year 3 is a big one, just because most small businesses don't last because they run out of money. They run into merchant fees. They run into, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. Leasing their office, not running out of inventory. We don't really have those issues. So 3 years is a big one. And if you haven't been in business before, I know Tricia was talking about that, 3 years is something you really should look into as a major milestone. The next one will be 5 years, because if you make it 5, you're golden. So 3 is a big one. What did not work? Facebook generic marketing. I know we teach 10-4-1. I got pretty lazy. I got some like my mom's really sick, so I just don't have it in me to like push for the last, I don't know, year. And so I know that it's driven some sales, but not having a specific goal to kind of move people to seeing something, it doesn't work. So if you're on Facebook, just to be on Facebook, it's non-specific. It's better to be on Facebook for a reason. And if you're not going to use Facebook, that's fine, but you really need to get more eyeballs on the campfire video. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Lawrence. Anyone else? Gary, would you like to share?
What about the other Jennifer?
Oh, Gary just unmuted himself.
Oh, Gary, and then the other Jennifer.
Well, what I'll share is what I'm doing in 2020 didn't work, and I've got to change my focus significantly to make it work. I enjoy the product. I just need to find the right audience to share the product with, and I haven't been able to do that. And that's got to be my focus. This product really works for me. One personal goal would be to lose another 25 pounds. The first 25 went, but now I need to get another 25. And it's neat to be able to listen. Now I just got to put it to work, and that really is my goal, starting really right now to make something happen.
Love it. Thanks, Gary. And the other, Jennifer. Is she still on? I don't see her name.
Maybe not. I don't know. I thought that was her.
I think she jumped off maybe. Let's see. Who else do we have on here? Pamela?
Okay, I really don't like speaking, and I know Hillary and everyone knows that. I got on Facebook to start with just to see my grandkids and know what they were doing. And then I found the ketones with Courtney, and which I'd seen like 2.5 years before that. And I'd been on a plateau, so I got back on. I ordered ketones, and this was like for June 1st of this year, and I've lost 63 pounds on them. And so that was my main thing, but I went on because of the thing for $1, to join, and but I really hadn't been pushing it as much. I just thought, well, for $1 for this year and go from there. And then after I did all this, it just seems like my uncle got sick and he moved in with me, and then passing away. And I've just had one thing after another, 3 more COVIDs and heart problems and breaking of ankles, torn ligaments in ankles of my 15, 17s and 19-year-olds, grandkids. And it just seems like everything has gone downhill. And then I now have, some more, I guess, unspoken prayers that, things have come up. But I do hope for a better year. I do want to try to make this work. And I've got to learn to do the videos, the lives. I know Hillary and Courtney says, come on, you can do it. But I just don't know if I can. I'm just old and set in my ways, I guess, and haven't, done anything like this. But I am going to try to do better, because the money situation I really do need at this point. So that's all I can say. I don't have anything else.
Thank you, Pamela. Okay, yeah, I just have a couple of thoughts. Thanks to everyone who's shared so far. One thing that when I was listening to everyone share that came up for me, 2 things is contrast. So yeah, I personally am someone who celebrates contrast in my life, even though if I forget to. So whenever, not knowing what we don't want is so powerful. And we get that from things we don't want happening. And without contrast, we would never have clarity, right? Without the dark, the light wouldn't be the light. Without, struggles, we wouldn't want to have a comeback, all of those different types of things. And so contrast is a thing that, I think is really powerful. And I went live in Hello Better not very long ago about how I started being grateful for the things that, were negative in my life. And that really changed things around for me. And it would just be as simple as saying, like, I'm grateful for my depression. Like, I'm grateful for this anxiety. And I wouldn't always have clarity right away for months or sometimes years in the past. But like eventually I did get clarity from it. So I was thinking, so just celebrating any contrast that we may have experienced in 2020 for everyone that is on this call and everyone else in our lives, and just sending out love to everyone who is going through contrast right now. And I also really loved what Hillary said about this business, and life really is so much more about how we be than anything that we do. And one thing that I love and appreciate so much about Hillary and the mentorship that she provides for our team and among all the things she does for us, but is so much of our conversations is more about the law of expectation. So instead of like, you got to do this, it's like, well, you know, she'll say things to me like, well, Alexis, like why, like, you should just expect this to happen, or just like start being open to receiving this, or expect that you're going to be recruiting more. It's all about that energy. And I love that so much, because what we're doing right now, the conversation that we're having with our vision and what we want and reflecting, I use these same principles when I started my weight loss journey last year. And so I was like 182 pounds, really uncomfortable, really unhappy. My spirituality, my mental health, like everything was shot. I did not feel like myself at all. And I was doing a lot of people pleasing. I just completely lost touch of myself. And I started asking myself questions about what I did want. And then I started asking myself what was I not willing to let go of? Because a lot of the things that we think are blocks, there's actually a deeper reason why we're not letting ourselves have what we say we want. And so with like weight loss, for me, I was like afraid to be seen. I was afraid to have connections with people. And so it manifested into extra weight, because it was like this way to protect myself from actually stepping into who I really was. And so that can be said about the business as well. Really quickly, I'll just share the rest of mine. So I already shared what worked for me in 2020. One thing I wanted to add to that was just being open and being willing to be coachable, and really connecting with Hillary a lot more, because the conversations and the calls that we have has just completely kept me on track with how I want to live my life, and just kept me in a really good space energetically. So yeah, that worked well for me. What didn't work was obsessing on the wrong things, like the what ifs, the fears, and specifically in some of my relationships in my life, which kind of leans into like being worried about what other people thought of me, not wanting to ruffle any feathers. And then I put not being consistent, because there was a lot of times that obsessing and that worrying about fears just took me out of action. And things to finish in 2020, I have 2 more lives to finish. I did my 1 live today. So if you didn't hear about it, Hillary is doing an amazing challenge for us, a contest. It's really not even a contest, because all you have to do is do it and then you win. So if you do 3 lives by the end of the year, and I have some stuff to say about lives. So you will get 10 ketones for free. And then if you do 3 lives every week in January, that's it. So what is that? 12 lives in a month. In January, she'll give you an additional 20 ketones. So that's 30 ketones for free that you can drink or that you can use for your business, and have trials, have a variety of flavors to send to your new customers or your leads. So you can make money off of it, or you can drink them and have free ketones to drink. So yeah, that's on my to-do. With lives, I think the question isn't, the advice I've given to people in the past who haven't wanted to go live is, and this is how I've overcome a lot of things, is like when I wanted to get sober, I would always say to people when I was still using and drinking that I was getting ready to get ready. Like I knew I wasn't ready, but I was getting ready to be ready, if that makes any sense. And so some of the suggestions I've given to people is, if you aren't ready right now and you know that, what else can you do to get more ready? And so one thing you can do is you can just record a video, not go live, and start posting those videos. And I know Kaylee's done that. I know Trisha's done that a bunch, and now she just goes live, right? So, but in the beginning, she was just recording the video and then posting it. It makes you feel like you have a little bit more control. You can redo it, right? Obviously it's not as good for the algorithm as going live, but it's a step in that direction. And also going live with other people. So if you haven't done it before, you're not sure what to hit or how to like put a title on, maybe ask like one of your family members or your grandkid if they can go live with you. And it could be something fun. They could be, you know, that's just an idea. Like, get creative, get resourceful if the actual thing scares you, and think of a different way that you can do it, or even recording a 15-second clip of you talking and then posting it in your stories. Like, there's little things to get more comfortable in front of the camera. Public speaking, like social media in general, used to scare the crap out of me. Like, I would like skip class in high school if I had to give a speech. I would have my mom write a note. Like, and one thing I'm involved in my community is there's a lot of sharing involved in like in-person sharing. And I remember when I used to first share in that group, I would literally be shaking. Like, my whole body would be shaking. And now it's very therapeutic for me. So, like, going live and speaking is actually therapeutic. So how things are now doesn't mean that they're always going to be that way if you're willing to do, like, just inch towards it in little different ways. And I promise you, it might not seem like a big deal, but like Trisha was saying, doing things that we're totally terrified of, you will get so much more out of it than just like selling more trials. Like, the things it'll do for your confidence and your belief in knowing you get to have more, you get to make money. What I love so much about, and the last thing I'll say before I finish my little thing, is what I love so much about network marketing is all of our training is designed so that anybody can do it. Like, people with no talent, no experience, doesn't know technology, that's what network marketing is. It's not about the unique person who's really good on camera. It's in what they can do. It's about what's duplicatable. So all the trainings and all the suggestions we have are designed for anybody to be able to do. So I like that a lot. Okay, last things to finish. So I want my goal is to sell 15 boxes of new volume during the sale before the year ends. For me, having specific numbers and like shooting higher than I think maybe I can do really motivates me. So I like having specific numbers so I have something to go towards, because if I'm really vague of like, oh yeah, I want to sell a couple more, I want to sell some stuff before the new year, I probably won't sell anything. That's just how I work. And then another thing I want to finish in 2020 is I really have a strong desire to walk through other people's vision. So like the people that are on my team, like I really want to dig deep and get specific and walk through your vision and help you get that clarity. What I want in 2021 is to help people with their rank map. So I'll share at the end, I actually wrote down like my rank goal for every month of 2021 and how much volume that is and how many customers that is. I'm very specific and clear on where I'm going month after month. And then I want to weigh 135 pounds and have lots of muscle. And then I also want to have a lot of high vibe women, a big team, that's like a family. And I know exactly what I want it to look like because I've been a part of teams that weren't like this. And so I just want more of this type of energy and this type of connection. So what I'm celebrating in 2020, my recovery, becoming a group fitness instructor, because that was really terrifying. Like I almost threw up before my interview. And then also I'm celebrating not acting on impulses. So knowing when to say no, even if I think I want something, being able to parent myself in that way. And then for the last part, I put, I am who I am meant to be. And so I know I'm called to be great. I know I'm called to impact people. My word for 2021 is powerhouse. And that to me just means like living in my authentic self and being loud about it. Yeah, so that's what I have. Okay, so talking about the rank map. So I encourage everyone to go through and write like what rank they're going to hit every single month in 2021. And then also I really like putting this or something better. So anytime I have a goal, I always like, I'll say a prayer like that this is what I desire. If not this, then something better. And just leaving room for the universe or for your higher power or your God to intervene and bless you with something that's better than maybe you can even dream up right now. And then, yeah, so I recommend doing this rank map. I'll be doing this with a couple of you and getting really specific. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about too is I know a lot of people do vision boards at the end of the year. And obviously we don't have like poster board right now or like magazines. We didn't really prepare for that. But if you have time, I highly recommend that because images are really powerful to the mind, right? And so I have my vision board that's growing that I've been building over the last few months. And if you haven't done one, do it. And if you've done one before, do it again, because I've looked back on my past vision boards and it's like eerie looking at how every single one of those things happened, right? Like one of the things I used to journal about all of the time, the I am statements, like what that graphic had us do, is I am so grateful I get to work from home full time. And I'm so grateful I get to work from home full time with my boyfriend. I didn't necessarily, I mean, I don't know. It's just like putting it out. So I work from home full time with my boyfriend who works from home full time. And like he was handed a music business and he teaches piano. I was laid off in July and I had built my business and my personal training business up enough to be able to do this full time. And so there's just so much power in it. So I just really encourage you to do it and put it somewhere where you can see it every day and just kind of meditate on it and just be in that moment as if it's already happened and live your life as if you're already there. So yeah, that's pretty much all we have, I think. Hillary, do you have anything else to say about Vision 2021, the content?
Yeah, can you pull up the exercise again really quick? Yeah. So something I kind of want to talk about, because I heard a lot of people share, and so I think that a lot of it is understanding energy. And so I heard a lot of people spend just a little bit more time on what did not work. And while sometimes like frustration can be a motivator, like but that frustration in my experience is only a motivator if you're literally at a rock bottom point. Like if your back is literally against the wall and you are like, I have no other choice because you got yourself into whatever hole, that did not thing will be more of a motivator. But in realistic things in this whole thing, and you're putting out good energy, like you want to focus on what worked. And so, 2020, like I'm sitting here saying like, oh, I'm adaptable and things like that. But it's not like in terms of the stuff that I thought that I was going to be able to do and accomplish, 2020 didn't have like any of that. Like it was just a fluke of like a year, right? But that's not going to help me if I just overly focus on all the things that I missed out on. What's going to happen, what's going to grow is really focusing on like what worked and focusing on what I'm celebrating to bring into that new year with new energy. That's going to be the thing that's moving. So I get some people are like, well, they feel like they haven't made money yet, or they don't really get it that much yet. But if you've lost like 60 or something pounds, that might be the first step for you. That might be the first huge hurdle. And that's what should be celebrated more. Like that's what should be focused on, because if you did that and you learned how to change all this in your body, you're going to know how to eventually share with stuff and sharing with other people, but it might just not all be at the same time. So I think that that's the biggest thing, is when really looking at this list and going into the next year, like everyone has had some type of raw bad deal card to them in 2020. Like, I don't think that there's one person that's just like everything went according to plan. Like, no, the pandemic was not planned. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, so if you are, just whatever. But, this was not planned. So I think the thing is, in bringing in this new energy, really focus on the parts that were good, focus on the parts of the things you accomplished, and keep on repeating that story. Keep on repeating that, because even though I think so much of the world is so ready to be like, it's going to be gone tomorrow, I don't think the virus is going to all of a sudden go away on January 2nd. You know, like, I don't think that I'm going to get to go to the gym on January 2nd and not have to wear a mask and not have to like be counted to make sure it's not over. I don't think that Starbucks is going to open and where I can like sit and do coffee on the 2nd or anything. Like, you know, just because the calendar changes, and even though we're really excited and we want to bring that energy, it doesn't mean the circumstances will change. But how you create change is focusing on the good things, even when the circumstances are still the same. So I really just think that as you're doing this exercise, spend more time focusing on like the good that happened for you this year and how you're going to bring that into the next year. So, you know, because even if people aren't necessarily where you want to be at the end of this year, you still got further along than maybe you would have before. Like, everyone made progress somehow. And so that's what I want all of y'all to focus on. So that's all I have to say.
Yes, that's great. Absolutely. I mean, one thing I was thinking about is just so many, it's so easy to spend time assessing our current reality, and what we focus on perpetuates. So if we're assessing too much on how things are right now or how things were, we keep living that same thing. So we literally have to trick our brain to think we're already where we want to be. And that's how you get rapid change. And it might not happen rapidly, but it can the more you practice it, the more you be it, the more you show up as it, and celebrate those good things like Hillary was talking about. And you'll be so shocked how well that works. And so I never really take into account for very long of where I currently am, because in my mind, I'm already somewhere else. Like, when I was still 180 pounds, I in my head, I was already 140 pounds, right? Like, I was already there, and that's when things started changing. And it was like, it wasn't even hard. I just started making different choices. It was just more of an intuitive thing that was able to flow through me. And like and then all of a sudden my appetite wasn't as big, and I was, you know, like, then like the right teacher showed up and the right trainer showed up in my life, and all of those things. And fitness is the same as business. It's the same as business. Like, you know, like, the customers will show up as soon as you start already showing up like you have a team, or like you have a handful of customers, or pretend you have 100 customers, and you'll get more customers. And just continue to celebrate customers even if you don't have them. And just saying things like, I'm so grateful for the 10 customers I have on SmartShip, and saying that every day and writing that down, you will get customers. Your brain will start to look for solutions, and people will feel that energy too. People will start messaging you. This has been my experience, and I'll never stop talking about it, because I was so stuck for so long with my weight, that I started applying these same principles to business, and it worked for that as well. And it worked for people in my life too, and for relationships in my life. So, yeah, all of the great people, all of the greats and the personal development authors, they all talk about this concept about not assessing our current reality, but really focusing on what we want. And so many times when you ask someone what they want, and even when I'm doing one-on-one like personal training consultations, I'll ask people what their goals are, and they'll spend like 15 minutes talking about what they're not satisfied with. And then I'll have to ask, like, well, what do you want? Like, what do you want? How do you want to feel? And so asking yourself how it's going to feel when you pay off that credit card, asking yourself how it's going to feel to have this much in your bank account, asking yourself how it will feel when you hit the car bonus or whatever rank is your goal, is really, really powerful. Because if you can get into those feelings, you will absolutely get there in 2021. So Thank you everyone for coming. I'm so glad we got
Courtney wants to share.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Courtney. Sorry.
Okay, I was just going to share the rest of the questions that you asked because I only shared the first one. If that's okay, if we have a minute, is that okay?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so the question of what didn't work for me in 2020 was trying to please everyone else, making decisions based on other people's happiness. That was really, really, really big for me because I've literally done that since I was a kid. Like, it didn't matter if, you know, it took away my joy or made me struggle or whatever, if I would do something just to make someone else happy. And it was just, that was a huge thing that I found out didn't work. And I've been so much happier since I've realized that. Also, what didn't work for me this past year was comparison. There were some times this year where I was playing that comparison game and, you know, comparing myself to other people and where they're at. But I realized that being me is my superpower, right? So I let that go. I'm not 100%, but I'm doing so much better at that self-comparison game. Things to finish in 2020. My live videos, because I know I still have 3 to make to be part of Hillary's contest, which I'm going to be winning some free ketones myself. But plus, I mean, let me turn this light back on. Also, right now, especially right now, these next few days, couple of days, whatever is left, you really need to be doing live videos because on everyone's mind right now is, what am I going to do come January when it's over? You know, this year is over, and you realize the weight a lot of people realize the weight that they put on, or the energy they don't have, or their health. So they're going to be looking for people. So anyways, let's see what's next. Okay, what I want in 2021, I want to hit rank 8. I do know that I got to hit rank 7 first, but I want to be rank 8 by the end of 2021. Also, what I want in 2021 is to be more consistent. And I know being more consistent is what's going to get me to rank 8, right? I want to reach my health goals, which means for me, I want to hit 150 pounds is what I personally want to get to. And then I also want to, my husband and I want to buy an RV and do some traveling. So that is a big thing for us. And then what I'm celebrating in 2020, celebrating taking my life back, mentally, physically. We talked about that, but just I truly feel like I've taken my life back, and it's just, I know for a lot of people this has been a rough year, but it has just been a huge year of growth for me. And I'm just glad that I've taken advantage of that this year. Also, what I'm celebrating in 2020 is all the lives I've been able to inspire. I get messages a lot, and I screenshot so many of them. So on the days that I'm like struggling, you know, do I really want to do this live, or do I really want to make this post? I don't feel like doing it today. I look at those screenshots of those people that say that video inspired them, that video kept them going, and things like that. So I'm definitely celebrating that. Also, I'm celebrating being a grandma. My grandson is 2 years old now, and the biggest joy in my entire life is being I thought kids were great, but there's nothing in this world better than being a grandma. I'm just saying. I'm celebrating my husband retiring this year. It was unexpected. He wasn't ready, but, you know, with COVID and everything, he had to, but we are celebrating it because now he can help me with our business. So, and I'm celebrating that, being able to work from home. I know a lot of people aren't able to work from home. So to be able to stay home and work and we're safe, I'm just grateful for that. So I am enough, I am excited, and I am fulfilled. My word for 2021 is connect. Whether that is just, you know, just connecting more online with people, not just putting a post up just because it sounds good, but actually putting me into it, you know, putting myself into it and reaching out and truly connecting with people, because more than ever, especially since we're not face to face anymore, people are craving that connection. So I want to connect with as many people as I can this year and encourage them to do the same. So anyways, that's it.
Love it. Thanks for sharing, Courtney. Kelsey, do you want to share real quick? I know she's on here. She called in. Can you unmute yourself, Kelsey? I don't know if she's here. Okay, maybe she's not. All right, well, thanks so much again for coming. Feel free to dive deeper, get specific. If you want help, message any of us. Hillary?
Oh, the lives Gary asked is just on your personal page. So I'll drop it in 8FM, the exact requirements for it. So yeah, it's just lives on your personal page.
Get those ketones. All right, everyone, have an amazing night. Have a happy new year, and we'll see you soon. Bye.